Welcome back to the 90 More Podcast. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. We're going to be picking my best 11 in the Premier League currently. Now, the criteria for doing this is so easy. We are going with the 6 games we've seen in the Premier League. So there are no considerations for last campaign. There are no considerations for all time. We are going with the best 11 in the Premier League currently. And also what I've done, I've tried to minimize the number of players from the Big Six and maximize the number of players outside the Big Six. Now that is not very easy because the amount of quality in the top 6 sides is very huge compared to the number of quality players in outside the top 6. But I've tried my best to bring in players outside the top 6, players that I think are outstanding and players that I think deserve honorable mentions. In goal, I've gone with Jose Sa, Wolverhampton Wanderers. Now, there's so many goalkeepers that have kept 3 clean sheets this campaign. You have Jose Sa, you have Sanchez at Brighton, and I think you have Ederson at Manchester City as well, and Nick Pope at Newcastle. I think Nick Pope deserves an honorable mention this campaign. What a signing he is for Newcastle. And I've always said that if there is a signing that really excites me, it is Nick Pope to Newcastle. When I think about Jose Sa, okay, let's not talk about last season. This season alone, he's gonna be a great goalkeeper. He's already in my FPL fantasy team, and he's already doing very, very well. So for me, Jose Sa should be in goal. I thought about the likes of Alisson. I thought about the likes of Ederson. But for me, if you cannot go for a goalkeeper outside the Big Six, which other position are you going to go for? Because goalkeepers outside the Big Six always have to stop more shots. And I think that is what Jose Sa is all about. Big goalkeeper, makes himself very big. Very, very good shot stopper. His distribution is also top notch. And that's why I've gone with him over Sanchez and over Nick Pope. I think his ball distribution is slightly below Ederson, but when it comes to making important saves for the team, Jose Sa is better than Ederson. Honestly, I thought about the likes of Ramsdale as well, but Jose Sa this campaign, outstanding, still outstanding, right from last campaign, very key player for Wolverhampton Wanderers last campaign, and still a very key player for them this campaign as well. Right back is Reece James. I don't think there is a debate here when it comes to right back. Now, Man United could tell you about Diego Dallo. Arsenal could tell you about Tomiyasu and Ben White. Trent Alexander-Arnold is already having a stinker of a season. I think it will turn around their season. They will turn their season around. Liverpool, if their players come back from injury. But for me, it's so hard in this Premier League to argue that against the fact that Reece James is one of the best right backs in the world right now. I thought about Kieran Trippier, deserves an honorable mention. Quality player, absolutely quality player, and the fact that Newcastle signed this guy, it truly amazes me. It truly amazes me. What a signing he was for them, in the January of this year. But Reece James, the amount of chances he creates, the amount of goals he can score, and this season alone, I think it really started very, very well. You can argue that in that Chelsea side, Raheem Sterling and Reece James are the 2 players that have already played at the standards the Premier League demands and the standards that the Chelsea fan base really requires them to. So for me, Reece James at right back, there are not so many others I could think of. There are not so many players I could think of. Tariq Lamptey at Brighton is not really playing as many minutes, although Brighton are really on fire. I thought if he had got the playing time, he would be part of my 11, because I think Brighton have really started off very well, and I feel so dumb that I don't have a Brighton player in this team. I really feel very, very dumb. But for me, Reece James, I think it's gonna be the best right back in the league, starting this season and the seasons to come. He's absolutely amazing, very, very good as a right back. Now, left back, again, there is no argument here. It's always Cancelo. Now, look. They've given him shot number 7 at Manchester City, and I even don't understand how they've given him shot number 7, but he deserves it. They honestly thought about it, and he really, really deserves it. Joao Cancelo is one of the best fullbacks in the world. For me, he's the best fullback currently. He's the best fullback in the world. Very, very solid defensively. That is one of the problems players like Trent Alexander-Arnold have. They have a very, very good game going forward, but tracking back and defensively, they have a very, very poor game. And that is what Cancelo has managed to do. He has managed to clean out all the errors defensively. And going forward, oh my God, I don't think there is a better right back when he plays at right back, and I don't think there is a better left back when Cancelo plays at left back. Now, there's so many in the world, and there's so many in the Premier League. I considered Marco Cucurella and the kind of impact he has created at Chelsea. Wonderful scenes there. I thought about Alexander Zinchenko, and I was slightly going to go for Alexander Zinchenko, but for me, Joao Cancelo is unbeatable. Joao Cancelo is. There is no debate against Joao Cancelo. And the fact that the players like, Robertson, that we thought are at the same level as Cancelo, have fallen off a cliff. He just remains so clear. He's so good. I love the modern fullback system when I see Cancelo play in that position. He's absolutely magnificent. Now, my centre-back pairing is a little bit weird, but I think they are the two best in the Premier League. At right centre-back, I've gone with William Saliba. And hold on, yes, he was absolutely, bullied by Marcus Rashford. He was absolutely done by the Manchester United maestro midfield Eriksen and Bruno Fernandes. But that doesn't take anything away from him. I think every team this season has had moments where the centre backs have been totally ripped apart. But for me, why I've gone with William Saliba, and I thought about a couple of centre backs, especially Steven Botman at Newcastle. But why I've gone with William Saliba is the kind of impact he has created, not only at Arsenal but also in the Premier League. I think coming from the French League One and being young player of the year, it just creates a lot of hype around you. And the question was, can he come to the Premier League and replicate that form? Can he come to the Premier League and become that star? And he's done it. He's really, really done it. I think him and Alexander, Isak have just told us the Premier League is so easy. Why do you guys keep on overrating it? And honestly, it's true. The Premier League is overrated. I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying. But anyway, for me, guys, William Saliba, strong as a young centre-back, only 21 years of age. He's just going to get better. I would have gone with Wesley Fofana, but Fofana has not yet settled in this campaign. And that's why I've gone with William Saliba. And for me, if Arsenal can't keep this guy, he's going to be one hell of a centre-back. He's going to be one of the best centre-backs in the world in 5 years to come. He's so good. Has a very terrific speed. Has a very, very solid mind. And I think as a centre-back, he's one of those young players that you could argue has a head, an old head on young shoulders. Very impressive on his first 6 games in the Premier League. Now, you know what? Someone who has made another impressive start to the Premier League is Lisandro Martinez. If you ask me right now, I will do my most underrated 11 in the Premier League. Lisandro Martinez is so underrated, and I think it's about this. It's all about this fixation about players, about people who love the Premier League and people who support the Premier League. That centre backs have to be huge, and centre backs have to be tall. If you're not Virgil van Dijk, you're not part of the best centre backs in the world. If you're not Dunk, if you're not these strong, bullies in the Premier League, you're not a good centre-back. And I think Lisandro Martinez has just changed the narrative of what a centre-back should be. For me, he's a bully. He's an absolute bully. And the fact that he throws himself into challenges wholeheartedly, I don't think Virgil van Dijk comes close to this guy in terms of defending and putting their body on the line. He doesn't come close to him. He really doesn't come too close to him. And it just explains the fact why Man United had to part with £60 million and above to sign Lisandro Martinez. For me, he's a top centre-back, right? Look, Rafael Varane, for me, is a top centre-back as well. He's not world-class, Rafael Varane. At least not anymore. I don't believe Rafael Varane is a world-class centre-back, as many Manchester United fans want to sell to us. But when he plays next to Lisandro Martinez, he's going to look world-class all campaign. And I'm so shocked that people talk about Rafael Varane because it's the brand, and they don't talk about Lisandro Martinez. Martinez literally does everything in that centre back line. He's throwing himself into challenges. He's challenging balls in the air, however short he is, and he's winning almost every duel he enters. Every duel he smashes himself into, he's gonna win it. The mentality, and you can see why Ajax fans call him the butcher. His mentality is, I win the ball or I win the challenge. So literally, he's gonna carry you on the ball, or he's gonna walk away with the ball. And his passing range, and his passing ability, and his passing accuracy is absolutely on another level. So for me, lads, Lisandro Martinez, William Saliba are my outstanding centre backs. This could change anytime. I mean, we'll do a monthly series of these ones, but for the first month in the Premier League, Lisandro Martinez and William Saliba, I've really been impressed by them. Now, in number 6, in my in the midfield, I've gone with 3 midfielders, and the holding midfielder that has caught my eye is Rodri at Manchester City. So even last campaign, I talked about this. Rodri is a very outstanding midfield base in the Premier League. I thought about Bruno Guimaraes in this one. I also thought about Joao Palhinha at Fulham. Actually, it's a little bit so complicated that I didn't go with Joao Palhinha, because I thought about balancing the team and making sure that we have enough representatives outside the big 6. But there is no way you drop Rodri. There is no way I could drop Rodri. And the reason is, is one of the best in the world in that position. Not just in the Premier League, but in the world. If you asked me for a holding midfielder, probably Leon Goretzka, Bayern, Joshua Kimmich, Bayern, Toni Kroos, and Aurelien Tchouameni. There are not so many better than this guy. There are not so many better than Rodri. And all the players I've mentioned are not particularly better than Rodri. So for me, look, if you want a solid midfield base with a very good passing range, can score goals at times, is gonna be very solid for you. And his link-up play between the defensive part of the game and the offensive for Manchester City is absolutely phenomenal. And this season, he's literally started very well, and he's one of the most underrated players in the Premier League as well. I mean, if you asked many people who are the key players for Manchester City, there was a Cancelo, Bernardo Silva, KDB, Haaland, and a couple of other players. Then no one talks about Rodri. And for me, Rodri, Fabinho, Partey, they are the most important players of their respective systems. They're the most important players of those systems. And for me, Rodri comes number 1 in my midfield. Of course, Kevin De Bruyne has to be part of the midfield. Look, he's having a laugh. He's absolutely having a laugh, because having Erling Haaland as your striker means you can literally create. You can have 30 assists a campaign. You can have 40 assists in a campaign. But this guy, Kevin De Bruyne, the level at which he performs his magic, and the consistency with which he performs the magic, and the fact that it doesn't look like he's going to stop anytime soon, is amazing. 4 assists already this campaign. He betters anyone on the chart. No one has created more assists than Kevin De Bruyne. And for me, just like I said, having Erling Haaland means he's gonna create more chances. He's gonna create more assists, and the chances that he creates are gonna be buried away. They're gonna be put away by Erling Haaland. So wonderful midfielder, best for me in the Premier League currently, best in the world. In terms of creativity currently, I don't think there is anyone coming close to him. Yeah, of course, Luka Modric. I would put Luka Modric in that bracket, but apart from Luka Modric, no one else gets into that bracket. Luka Modric, Kevin De Bruyne, best in the world currently. And to complete this one is Martin Odegaard from Arsenal. Now, many will argue with this one, Martin Odegaard from Arsenal, but I'm gonna say this: he's Arsenal's most exciting player this season. He's Arsenal's most exciting player this season. And the fact that he's taken up the captaincy for this Arsenal side is quite fascinating. I never thought about it and I didn't see it coming, right? Of course, he captained the side through a couple of games last campaign. I thought Mikel Arteta would go for someone like Alexander Zinchenko after all, but he decided to stick with Martin Odegaard. But after Kevin De Bruyne, after we forget the tale of Kevin De Bruyne, we'll be thinking about and we'll be talking about one player in that creative position, and that is Martin Odegaard. He's really developing very well. He's on the right track, and if there is a reason as to why Arsenal are really thriving up front, it is Martin Odegaard. Already scored 3 goals for them this campaign, created 2 assists already. He's only gonna get better this season. 6 games, 5 goal involvements. That is huge. That is absolutely huge for a player that we were saying he's not creating enough, he's not getting into risks enough, and he's not scoring enough goals. 3 goals in 6 appearances for Arsenal. 5 goal involvements in 6 appearances for the Premier League, in the Premier League for Arsenal. Absolutely remarkable. So that would be my midfield 3. Odegaard with the finesse. KDB as my box-to-box. Of course, lots of chances from him, and Rodri to hold the midfield. Now, the 3 up top are a little bit... I think it is so hard to pick your front 3 in the Premier League, because I thought about the likes of Trossard. I thought about Dejan Kulusevski, who has had a very good start to the Premier League. But in the end, this is my 3. I've gone with Erling Haaland as my striker, as one of the 3. You can place him wherever you want. But I think we might argue against the rest of the 2. But Erling Haaland, there is no debate. Haaland is one of the best strikers in the world right now. Haaland is one of the best strikers in the business right now. Has already scored 2 goals in his first appearance for Manchester City in the Champions League, and has already scored 10 goals in 6 appearances for Manchester City in the Premier League. Now, you can say whatever you want, tap-ins, easy goals, wherever, but there are not so many strikers that are gonna do what Haaland does. The discipline, the intelligence, the strength, and the ability to score from every angle with every part of his body, with the head, with the left foot, with the right foot. I just love his awareness to always keep himself at the back post. Because that is where the ball is always gonna arrive, and he always does that, and he always scores, and he's so clinical. I think in the first 2-3 games of the Premier League, yes, Premier League defenders dealt with him very, very well, and you can argue that he wasn't that clinical, honestly. But he's eventually come around. And what a period it has actually taken him to prove all people wrong that him and the Premier League are not compatible. They are absolutely compatible. So for me, Erling Haaland, part of my front 3, justifiably. Someone who's another person who's justifiably part of my front 3 is Harry Kane. Now, before the arrival of Erling Haaland, Harry Kane, we need to concede to this. Harry Kane was the best striker in the Premier League. We need to agree to this. The fact that he stayed at Tottenham Hotspur amuses me, baffles me. I thought 2-3 seasons ago he should have already left Tottenham Hotspur. Now with the Antonio Conte, probably there is a little bit more of hope that they can win silverware. Probably, I don't know if they can challenge for the Premier League and the UEFA Champions League, but if they can't, the FA is up for grabs. But Harry Kane, what a striker they have in there. How many goals so far this campaign? 5 goals in the Premier League. Now, forget about Erling Haaland, because Haaland is a cheat code. Let's talk about the regular league of strikers, where you're expecting 5 goals in 6 appearances. You're expecting 6 goals in 10 appearances. Harry Kane is doing just that. And let's not lie to ourselves. Tottenham Hotspur have not had the best start to this campaign, but Harry Kane is winning games for them. Harry Kane is nicking points for them. The kind of striker you want, the kind of striker you need, and he always turns up. And at number 5 is a player that I regret throwing out of my FPL, Ivan Toney. I've gone with 3 strikers because I wanted to recognize Ivan Toney. I thought about Luis Diaz. I thought about Gabriel Martinelli. I thought about all your other forwards, all your other wingers in the Premier League. But Ivan Toney deserves an honorable mention and is part of my best 11 in the Premier League right now. The hat-trick against Leeds United speaks for itself. A penalty, a free kick, and a goal from open play. And that is what he's so good at. Scoring goals and winning games for Brentford. Look, his partnership with Brian Mbeumo is coming around just like it was in the championship. If they can keep on scoring and assisting for each other, they're going to be a very deadly side. But Brentford have Ivan Toney to thank for whatever they have in the Premier League last campaign and this campaign. They're a very quality side, but having a player like Ivan Toney and the fact that they even kept him, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So, look, I was told to give honorable mentions at the end of this video. I will give an honorable mention to Nick Pope in goal and Sanchez at Brighton in goal. I think they've been very decent goalkeepers throughout this season. At right back, I'm not really thinking about many players that deserve honorable mentions, but I'll go with Diogo Dalot at Manchester United. Been quite outstanding. Left back Marco Kurela, quite outstanding for Chelsea already. At centre back, I think Gabriel Magalhaes at Arsenal deserves a shout out. Been very good, and Kalidou Koulibaly as well has had a very good start to life at Chelsea, deserves a mention. Joe Palhinha in midfield deserves a mention. Very good. McAllister at Brighton as well deserves a shout out in midfield, and Leandro Trossard as well at Brighton. They deserve a shout out. Up front, I think Luis Diaz, although Liverpool have not started very well, but Luis Diaz and Roberto Firmino have really impacted for me. So that is my starting 11, and those are the honorable shout-outs that I think deserve a mention in the Premier League season so far. It's the monthly video, so don't be fuming. If your players do perform better, if your players increase in form, then they will make it to the best Premier League 11 at every end of the month. Don't forget our weekly series. They'll be coming to you every weekend, every after the weekend action. We'll be having our best Premier League 11 of the weekend, and we'll see you very soon.